A humanitarian crisis exacerbated by a protection crisis. People forced to flee their homes, their livelihoods. Children separated from parents after reports of atrocities carried out by child soldiers, including alleged beheadings by non-state actors.
These are constant stories, stories of people being kidnapped, stories of gender-based violence, horrific stories of ordeals of people walking for days and days, kids arriving with their feet swollen and injured and having to be taken care of. So it is a very, very serious protection crisis. We are facing both a large and likely long-lasting humanitarian situation. 1/3 of the population displaced right now. Really striking to see in some towns that the population has doubled, in some cases tripled. And so you imagine how heavy it is for populations and towns and villages that are already poor.
While Mozambique authorities announced they'd taken control of Palma in early April, fighting in the region uprooted many, leaving aid agencies already stretched by various climate emergencies, struggling to keep pace with the growing needs.
We need to get $1 million immediately in order to make sure that we don't have a stock out of the ready-to-use therapeutic food that saves children, for example. And then the cholera response really needs more money now. The numbers are much down in Cabo Delgado because of a huge effort by the government and UN agencies, including UNICEF and WHO. But there is a very high risk of another outbreak in these conditions, and it is already spreading to neighboring provinces. So that is critical.
While the World Food Programme continues to warn of a humanitarian catastrophe beyond epic proportions, with reports that people arriving in Pemba from Palma had not eaten in weeks.
As the security situation continues to deteriorate, more than 950,000 people in the north of Mozambique are now facing severe hunger. WFP plans to assist approximately 750,000 internally displaced people and vulnerable members of the hosting communities in Cabo Delgado, as well as in the neighboring provinces of Nampula, Nyasa, and Zambezia. In response, WFP is organizing emergency food distributions for families who have fled the violence in Palma and is providing high-energy biscuits as well as ready-to-eat immediate response rations that are comprised of rice, pulses, vegetable oil, canned foods such as sardines and beans, biscuits, and water, enough to last them 2 weeks.
A meeting of the SADC Troika heads of state on April 8th directed an immediate technical deployment to the region, with a follow-up report due to be delivered back to the sub-regional body by the end of the month. Sherman Bryceby's SABC News, New York.